Hi guys, so today we're going to be focused on a new drawing, which is a weekend house, or you can call it the hut house. So basically this it's like one of those roundables house that you can keep in mind, sort of like, you see. So yeah, first things first, you just have to analyze everything that you have on the drawing that you're given. So remember, since I don't have enough space, I just drew the plan. Then I didn't include the details because in this video we're just going to be talking about the brickwork, or how to approach them on a circular drawing like this. So first things first, that you check. If you check externally, you have your 270 millimeter wall, which indicates this it's indeed a cavity wall. So I couldn't get that much into detail with this wall, but I hope on the thumbnail it's going to show. So normally if you're having a wall that's bigger than 220, check if it's a cavity wall or not. Normally cavity wall, you would notice them, they have something in between or spacings. See, so you would have a wall this side and a wall this side and a small spacing, which is about 50. Then this it will be 110, 50, 110, then it's going to make that 270. That's basically how the wall is like. And remember, in my other video, I've done a video where you can go and calculate one particular item called split mortar within the cavities, which is going to be something um like this. But yeah, there's a full video on how to go about doing the calculation for that. So now we're just gonna jump into this one. And also, if we look internally, we have the 110 walls and also the 220 walls as shown. One thing to note about the walls, you always calculate them separately if they're different. The 110, you group them together. The 220, you group them together. So yeah, enough on that part. Then now we're going to focus on the external part, since we are doing the brickwork calculation, but we are doing it on the external part. So we're calculating the external walls. So we have something that looks like this. So since it has circular walks, how I would position it, or I would break it down, I would break it down in this way, that okay, I'm going to cut my drawing here and also here to this side like this. So if it's like this example, so I'm cutting it this way and this way, so it means now I have half a circle, a square in the middle, and also half a circle. And just to make your calculations much faster, if you combine these two, it means now you're going to be having a full circle and a square in the middle, which is just going to be easy to calculate. But now you have to be careful. Remember, we are calculating the brickwork on the external part. So when we are coming to this square in the middle, we're only going to be calculating these walls only. So it means you're going to be focused on this portion and only this portion from here up until this side. You see? But this one, remember, since we're just taking it as full as it is, it's just a combination of this half and also the combination of that other half on the right. So yeah, and also one thing to note, since we are going to have two shapes, we have circular and also square. The standard system says you have to measure these items separately. Circular works separately from the other ones. So how are we going to start? We are going to start with the 270 millimeter cavity walls. These are the walls outside, the walls here, you see. So but now we're focused on which region? This square part, because as I said, we're splitting this into two. Let me just like put it here in the middle. We have this one, we're focused on this one. We want this distance here and here, see. So what are we going to say? We're going to go and look for the dimension that, okay, from here to here, it's how much? It's 1110 plus 4000 plus 6.1 plus 220, or we can just say it's 1110 plus 6.1 plus 220. So we'll say it's 1110 plus 6100 plus 220, you see. So this is going to give us 6430 millimeter, you see. So we are done with that one. Then when you're going to go to your measuring paper, let's just say now you have your measuring paper which looks like this. You're going to still write it like this. You have your external walls here, just to show, okay, the overall heading is doing external walls. Then you write 270 millimeter cavity walls. They will know, okay, they are doing your cavity walls outside. Then you write this one. Then you will write here that you have your 6.43 multiplied by 2. Why do I multiply by 2? I'm multiplying it by 2 because I have this two side. Why did I erase this one? I'm multiplying it by 2 because I have this two side, as I said. And remember, we're still doing the external walls. So I have 1, 2. You see? So yeah, you're basically going to be having something like that. Then now you go to the circular part, and remember the circular part, you measure them separately. So you go to the external part, the circular part I meant to say. So now we're going to say we're still on external wall. We have 270 millimeter cavity, but circular on plan. But circular on plan, you see. So now we're focused on this wall here. So one thing that you have to note is that, okay, if we are having a wall that is curving, like this one on the other side, in order to calculate the brickwork for this one, you need to use a perimeter. So one thing that you need to know the perimeter of a half circle and the perimeter of a full circle, because now what do we have in this drawing? They've made it easy because these two halves, they almost have the same dimensions. You have 3.2 and also 3.2. So sometimes they might take you and make this one short. So it means now you have to measure these parts separately. You won't be combining them and making them one full circle. So that's one thing you also have to note, you see. So coming to the perimeter, what's the perimeter of a half circle? The perimeter of a half circle is pi r plus 2r. You have your pi r plus your 2r. Then for a full circle, you have your 2 pi r. So this one is just gonna make things easier for us, since we have the two halves in equal dimensions. So it means now we're just going to be using this 2 pi r1, you see. So yeah, that's one thing also you have to note. So now what comes next? So the other thing that you have to notice that, okay, now we are having a cavity wall. How is our wall moving? Like, we have a wall that looks like this. We have this, then there is that 270 cavity wall. But now we're trying to calculate the brickwork that is going to be here. Basically, with the external walls, or trying to calculate the brickwork, they are trying to look for center line. So you would agree that in order to find the center line for this one, it means now the center line for brickwork is going to be moving in the middle. It's going to be moving in the middle of our block work. Then what's our block work? Our block work, we have agreed that this one, that's 270, and they've also did they give us the radius of this thing? I think they did. It was written internally that it's let me check on the other drawing this side that I have. It was written internally on either side. It was just R 3200. But now you know that, okay, if you're having a radius, let's just say now you are here in the center. A radius means it can be from here to this side or here to that side. The way you would do it in maths, it means now, what do I have? I have my, no, I'm doing it wrong. I have my, you have your 3200 to this side, or 3200 to that side. You see? So yeah, sorry for that. So since they've given it, and one way we can confirm it is that, okay, here is the overall dimension. Here we have this 6400. You can basically just take this 6400 divided by 2, then you're going to get that 3200, which is your radius. You see? So now I think we've covered everything for the circular works. So now we just go and calculate the perimeter for the wall. So how would the perimeter look like? So remember, we said, let's just write the formula one more time. For full circle, we said it's 2 pi r. So now what is our, okay, yeah, I think, yeah, there's one thing I need to clarify. Remember, we've worked where the center line of our brick is going to be, which is going to be the middle here. So now it means we have to work our new radius. Our R, let me just call it R old. It was 3200. Then it means our R new is going to be this 3200 plus what? You remember how we found our radius or our center line for this wall? We just took half of this cavity wall. We said we're going to say we take half of the cavity wall. So it means now we have this 3200 plus half of 270. You see? So this will give you your 135. So your total now is going to be 3335. This is your new radius, basically from here to somewhere here in the middle of the block. I don't want to mess up the drawing because I still have to do other calculations, but like, yeah, I hope you are able to understand what I'm talking about when I'm referring to my R new and R old. So yeah, since we found the radius, the new one, so it means now we're okay to do the calculation. So now we're gonna go to your measuring paper. You still have this at the top, then you're now gonna just like transfer this one here. Then here you can just write, you have your 2 pi pi, your radius is just gonna round it off as 3.34. So you are done with the calculations. That's how it is. It's not that simple, but yeah, if you interpret it this way, it's just gonna be straightforward. You just have to remember that, okay, when I'm doing my brickwork for a circular work, I have to use a perimeter. And also when I'm gonna do the calculation, this new radius is going to change. It's going to be extended. We're going to be taking the radius that is going to be here along the center of the wall. You see? So that's basically where the wall is going to be. So now we're going to be having this 3,200. Then we add half of that cavity wall. Then you work with your new radius as I've shown here. You use the formula 2 pi r. This is the r. I didn't write the r because the r is here. So yeah, as I said, internally we have the 110 wall and the 221. This wall, I wasn't sure if it's a wall or is that side of a counter, because like here we had some form of like a kitchen works shown, you see. So without the elevations of this building, I wasn't able to determine if this is truly a 110 wall or it's just a kitchen. But because like one thing I've noticed with most of our drawing, when you're having your walls, the near part, you always have something that looks like this. So in here and here they had it, but just that here it was the doors. But on this one it wasn't there. So if you found something like this and it's kitchen work, it's better to clarify with the lecture or check your drawings properly, the ones that's going to be showing the elevation, if this is indeed a wall or a kitchen counter, the sides of the kitchen counter, because sometimes it's that part is just there to trick you or to throw you off, and then you go and add it to your 110 wall, then you get the wrong one. But unless if maybe they do negative marking, they might be considerate. But basically that's how you do your brickwork, your internal walls and your external work on circular work. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video.